The movie begins in the year 2010, when a bioengineering company called Engen was experimenting on a remote island to create a new breed of dinosaur. Then a scientist accidentally drops a candy wrapper on the ground, which gets stuck in the door's airlock system. This causes the system to malfunction and reset the door control. Everyone panics and runs away, but one scientist bravely runs back to close the door with his hand and prevent the dinosaurs from escaping. Meanwhile, an employee gets trapped inside and screams for help, but his partner refuses to open the door. The next moment, a huge dinosaur comes from behind, grabs him, and drags him to death. Then comes the year 2027, when it has been 32 years since dinosaurs came to Earth. But due to the changing climate and diseases, most of the dinosaurs have died out. Now people have lost their enthusiasm for them. Those that are left live near the equator because that is their true ancient environment. It is strictly forbidden for humans to go there. Martin, on the other hand, is stuck in traffic in New York as a giant, long-necked dinosaur blocks the road. Just then, Zora, a hired fighter, sneaks into his car and tells him about an important mission. Martin's drug company needs dinosaur blood to complete a cure for heart disease. He forbade Jorah to bring this blood. Gotta go to the Dun area. At first, Jorah refuses for this mission, but when Martin promises her a large sum of money, she agrees. Both go to the museum, where the dinosaur exhibition is being closed due to low number of visitors. There he meets Dr. Henry, who first advised the company to use dinosaur DNA to make medicine. Martin wants Henry to join the mission, and Jorah to protect him. Henry explains that they have to take blood from the biggest dinosaurs, because they have the biggest heart muscles, so they choose the biggest dinosaur of the earth, the most dangerous dinosaur of the sea, and the biggest flying dinosaur of the sky. Blood samples must be taken while they are still alive. Henry is reluctant to go, but Martin tempts them that this mission will give them a chance to see real dinosaurs up close. The next day, the trio fly to Suriname and are met there by Jorah's old friend Duncan. He had promised help over the phone, but now he wants to retreat due to fear. After a long argument, Martin convinces her by giving him more money. The team then leaves in Duncan's boat because Duncan knows ways to avoid the government's eyes. On the way, they look at the map, and Henry shows them his special arrows. As Henry explains about special arrows, he explains that these arrows can even pierce the thick hides of dinosaurs. Just keep them at least 10 feet away. Must run. These arrows automatically take a blood sample and exit by themselves, but each arrow can be used only once. On the other hand, Ruben is traveling by boat in the sea with his daughters, Isabella, Teresa, and Teresa's boyfriend, Javier. In the water, they see something floating nearby. At first, they think it is a dolphin, but its fins look different. Just then, the mysterious creature hits the boat and immediately moves away. Ruben goes down to check and is relieved that the boat is undamaged. But at the same time, that creature reappears and it becomes clear that it is the most dangerous dinosaur of the sea, Mosasaurus. This time he almost overturns the boat, but after a while he goes away again. Unfortunately, the boat only recovers for a few seconds and then starts to capsize completely. The family quickly jumps into the water to avoid being crushed to death under the boat. Xavier is still trapped inside and the door won't open because of the water. While the girls get back on the boat, Ruben tells Xavier to get the radio out of the emergency bag. Xavier finds the bag, kicks the door, and somehow gets out. The boat completely overturns and Ruben climbs in as well. But Xavier sees Mosasaurus swimming past him underwater. He quickly surfaces and swims swiftly towards the boat, while the giant beast follows him. Fortunately, Mosasaurus under the boat exits to the other side and the family pulls Javier to safety. The next morning, Henry's team wakes up to the family's distress call on the radio. Martin and Security Chief Bobby want to ignore the family's help, but Jorah believes they should help. Duncan agrees and orders his team to change course. After some time, Ruben sees the boat in the distance and shoots a flare into the sky to reveal its location. After getting the family out safely, Jorah wonders why the most dangerous dinosaur of the sea would attack an unknown boat. Henry speculates that the dinosaur may have mistaken the boat as a threat. The family wants to know why the team is looking for the dangerous creature, but they are not told anything. Then suddenly, something appears on the radar and the alarm goes off. At the same time, Mosasaurus collides with their boat. The dinosaur jumps out of the water. Jorah immediately gets into a shooting position and Henry ties her to the deck. Duncan increases the speed of the boat. But when Zora takes aim, Mosasaurus jumps again and the arrow falls into the water. The beast is fast approaching. So Duncan starts turning the boat to avoid the collision. Henry gives Jorah another scolding, But then Mosaurus pushes the boat and the tide begins to fall. She grabs her feet and Henry pulls her up. This time Jorah takes aim and fires a dart that hits the dinosaur's body directly. The dart immediately draws a blood sample and ejects itself when the vial is full. It also has a small parachute that slowly descends and Henry grabs it. The team cheers and Jorah and Henry store the vial in a cold suitcase. That's when Henry admits that he's starting to have doubts about this mission because he knows that the company will only give this new drug to rich people, while science should be for everyone. At the same time, the team is shocked when they find out that the Mosasaurus is back, and this time with several Spinosauruses. Henry is shocked as he realizes that the two species have now formed a symbiotic relationship. Bobby immediately runs outside and starts shooting, but not a single shot of him has any effect. Ignoring Duncan's warning, he continues firing in the other direction. Then suddenly a Spinosaurus jumps out of the water and grabs Bobby in its mouth and goes back into the sea. The Mosasaurus then takes another big leap, and as it falls into the water, the boat shakes so violently that co-pilot Nina hangs over the edge. On the other hand, Isabella is about to slip out of the room and fall over the railing, but Reuben quickly grabs her hand and injures her leg. He pulls her up. Just at the time when Mosasaurus broke the railing, tries and just manages to grab a piece of iron. The boat somehow comes back into balance and Nina climbs safely aboard. Duncan steers the boat toward the rocks because dinosaurs can't come in shallow water. Jorah thinks the boat will probably crash, so she starts preparing all the life jackets, while Henry secures the blood samples and some essential items. Teresa starts calling for help on the radio, but Martin stops him, without revealing that they are on an illegal mission. Teresa pushes him away, but slips and falls back from the edge and barely manages to catch it. Martin does not help her, so she falls into the water. Xavier immediately grabs a rescue can and jumps into the water after her. Thinking the boat is about to sink, Reuben puts Isabella in a life jacket and they both jump into the water. The next time Mosasaurus attacks the boat, he hits it with a large rock and begins to drag and damage it. Henry and Jorah quickly hide to escape the cliff, but then the engine explodes and crew member Leclerc falls. Duncan somehow propels the boat forward and eventually reaches shallow water. Everyone jumps into the water while Mosasaurus swims away. The boat goes ashore and gets stuck on the rocks. The team swims to the shore with bags of goods. But as Nina goes to pick up a bag, a Spinosaurus comes from behind and grabs him in the mouth. The rest were just scared, keep watching. Martin tells everyone that there is no telling what will be found on this island, because all the dinosaurs here have mutated from the old experiments of the first engine. Zora cuts through the forest fence to advance. She also reveals that she has arranged for a rescue helicopter that will arrive in 24 hours only if they lose contact, but it will last only for 2 minutes, and that too at sunset, so the mission should be completed by then. After walking a short distance, the team has to land in a swamp. Jorah asks Martin about Teresa's fall, but Martin pretends to be unaware. While walking in the swamp, he feels something touching his feet, but they don't know what it is until they reach the shore. Just then, a huge eel jumps out and startles them, but does not attack and leaves. The journey continues, and while stopping by the river to drink water, Martin finds some military ID tags. Martin sees blood dripping on his hand while drinking water. Looking up, he sees an old helicopter stuck in a tree. Inside, the dead pilot holds a gun. Martin knocks the gun down with a stick and quietly puts it away. There, Javier finds Teresa. After a while, Reuben and Yabella also reach there. The four swim to the island through a cave. He was left with a beautiful place and engine left. Pipeline found. Reuben remembers that the team mentioned buildings in the area, so they follow the pipe. After a while, Isabella finds a small aqua lobe behind the plant. Reuben explains that it is vegetarian, but Teresa still scares him. Xavier tries to knock down a plant. Then they hear the roar of a dinosaur nearby, so they have to change their path. At night, they rest by lighting a fire. Xavier goes to pee. Isabella then wakes up and feeds a qualp so that he falls asleep next to her. 2 velociraptors follow Xavier, but then a mutant dinosaur attacks them. Xavier stands perfectly still and holds his urine. Only when the dinosaurs are gone does he get his relief. In the morning, Jorah's team arrives at a canyon where they find a herd of Titanosaurus following the sound. 2 Titanosaurs are doing math that they don't notice. Henry touches one's leg and begins to cry with emotion. When the atmosphere calms down, Zora easily scolds and takes a blood sample. The family was moving slowly because Reuben had a leg injury. As the little aqualops followed them, Isabella named him Dolores and put him in her bag, saying that she would take it home and pet it. Moving forward, they did not see the slope behind a big tree and all rolled down to reach the river. Someone to Reuben. There's a strange smell, and a frightened Dolores runs away. Across the river, they saw an old abandoned shed. When Teresa saw a boat there, she said to go and fetch it herself. She easily swam across, but found a half-eaten dinosaur carcass. Then a Dilophosaurus jumped up and ran away. In fact, he was frightened by a Tyrannosaurus rex sleeping in the nearby bushes. Teresa went inside the shed without a sound, from where suddenly a flock of bats flew out. The boat he saw was broken, but he found an emergency raft in a bag. On the other side, Dolores reappears and Isabella throws food to drive her away. Teresa took the raft to the river, but did not hear the low voices of the family refusing to open it. He pulled the lever and the raft inflated so loudly that the Tyrannosaurus rex woke up. While he was looking elsewhere, Teresa quickly got into the raft and paddled hard until she reached her family. The others also climbed into the raft and Dolores remained on the shore. At that moment, Tyrannosaurus rex saw them and started chasing them. The family is paddling fast, but is shocked when the T-Rex enters the water and starts swimming fast. He goes ahead and overturns the raft, causing everyone to fall into the water. In this part of the river, there is a strong current that carries Reuben so fast that all of T-Rex evades attacks. He swims to the rocks with Teresa and Javier and hides there, but Isabella disappears. His scream is heard. She hides under the raft that T-Rex is now trying to cut down. If his teeth cannot tear the plastic, he lifts the raft and shakes it. But Isabella escapes in time and runs to her family. The T-Rex follows him. The group hides behind rocks. From where the dinosaur cannot enter, it gives up and leaves. Here, after several hours of climbing, Jorah's team reaches a high cliff. There, the Quetzalcoatlus is a giant flying carnivore that is very dangerous, so they plan to take her egg and take a sample. If the lark has the experience of climbing down with the help of a rope, it will easily reach the nest. But Henry has to overcome his fear first. Soon Jorah follows and sees Henry clutching the rocks in fear. Above is Duncan handling the ropes. When he sees a small dinosaur running by, he goes closer and sees that the little creature has entered an ancient temple. Just then, Henry's rope slips and he begins to fall, but Duncan catches the rope in time and saves him. The trio descends and reaches a cave. They are surprised that this is also a part of the temple. In the middle is a large nest containing the baby. Henry starts taking samples so as not to injure the baby. While waiting, Jorah asks Henry what he will do with these samples. Henry states that he wants the cure to be open-sourced so that anyone can make it and save millions of lives. Leclerc is securing the ropes on the edge of the cliff when the giant flying dinosaur mother returns to the nest. He warns the others and they hide behind the pillars. Then the dinosaur attacks. When Henry is trapped, Jorah draws his attention so that Henry can extract the sample. But the dinosaur kicks and the vial gets stuck under him. Leclerc throws a tool at the dinosaur's head, causing it to go away. As he calls for help, Duncan and Martin begin pulling the rope. The dinosaur goes after him, and meanwhile Henry picks up the vial. But the dinosaur accidentally pulls his rope too. This causes Henry to slip out of the temple and hang over the edge of the cliff. Zora is also drawn, but she stops the edge with her feet and grabs the rope so Henry can climb up. In the struggle, the vial falls to the bottom, despite Jorah's warning that the rope might break. Henry starts swinging and eventually retrieves the vial. Upstairs, Duncan and Martin are still pulling the rope, but then they get scared when Quetzalcoatlus comes in front of them with Lelarc's corpse in his mouth. When dinosaurs are friends. Then he follows Martin and Duncan and quickly blocks their path. With the suitcase containing the samples in hand, Martin and Duncan run down and hide inside the temple. At that moment, the rope breaks and Henry falls into the river. He floats to shore and sees Duncan and Martin coming out of a hidden passage, while Jorah is descending with the help of ropes. The sample falls to Henry without breaking due to its parachute. Now they can all go back home. In the evening, the family disembarks from the raft and finds the engine lab's buildings. They scream loudly for help, and Jorah's team hears their voices and joins the two groups. Teresa immediately explains what Martin has done, and Martin pulls out a pistol and starts scaring everyone and says that the girl is lying. He then takes the suitcase containing the sample and handcuffs it to his wrist. Isabella hears a strange noise and Henry thinks it's the sound of a generator running on a timer. Suddenly a dinosaur roars and the lights go on inside the gas station. Also, some music starts playing. Just then, two mutant dinosaurs come out and start chasing the group. People immediately start running away and the group splits up. The family reaches inside the gas station, where Reuben and Xavier try to stop the mutant dinosaurs by locking the door firmly. They set up a rack in front of the door, then further. Go up, but Isabella turns back as she sees Dolores. At that moment, the dinosaur enters the station by opening a hole in the ceiling. Isabella quickly grabs Dolores and hides in the fridge. The dinosaur roars to the fridge. The rest of the family throw things at him to distract him. Isabella takes this opportunity to sneak out and go back to the family. They all hide behind the shelf. Reuben follows the sound of water and finds a hidden door. The family has already disappeared inside the tunnel when the dinosaur arrives at their place. Another dinosaur chases Henry and Duncan, who stop him by going into a lab and closing the door. Henry realizes that this is where new breeds of dinosaurs were created and evolved. There is also a specimen kept in a capsule. Duncan looks at the map and discovers that the entire island has a network of tunnels that can lead them to a boat on the Dog. The first dinosaur chases Jorah outside. Jorah quickly escapes and hides under a jeep with Martin. Martin fires at the dinosaur but misses. The dinosaur approaches Martin, grabs him and throws him over the jeep. Martin is careful not to miss the sample and drops his gun, which Jorah grabs. Then the rescue helicopter arrives but no one is seen inside. Jorah hides as Martin escapes in the jeep. Dinosaur tries to stop him, but the jeep rams him hard. Then the dinosaur begins to descend after hearing the voices of the family in the tunnels, removing the lid of a drain. Jorah sees him and follows him. Meanwhile, the helicopter prepares to return. Henry and Duncan exit the tunnel, and Henry throws a flare to draw the helicopter's attention. The helicopter turns back, but just as he is about to land, a mutated T-Rex called the Dinosaurus Rex appears, comes out. He cuts the helicopter and slams it into the ground, causing a huge explosion. Just then, Duncan hears the voices of the family, so he also removes a manhole cover to make way for Henry and himself. Suddenly, Jorah approaches them and shoots at the right time to kill the dinosaur that appears at the other end of the tunnel. Duncan then leads the group through the tunnels to Dog, but the outer door is locked. As the dinosaurs come from above, Isabella runs through the bars to the control panel. In her bag, Dolores screams in fear and warns of the approaching Durex. Isabella is terrified, but hearing the voices of her family, she uses the panel to open the door. Durex is about to enter the tunnel. Just then, he hears the sound of Martin's jeep. He stops the jeep with his big paw, and taking this opportunity, the group exits the tunnel. As another dinosaur follows them, but Jorah closes the door and traps him inside. At that point, Derek grabs Martin and starts eating him. This causes Martin's suitcase containing his severed arm to fall. Jorah quickly picks him up and runs to the boat with the others. Unfortunately, the crane holding the boat is stuck. Durex suddenly appears and chases Isabella. Henry explains that it is attracted to light. Duncan lights a flare and retreats, drawing Durex's attention so the others can run. Duncan jumps into the water and gets away from the dog, where Durex surrounds him. Jorah cuts off Crane's chain. This frees the boat and the whole group jumps onto the boat, but they are unable to start the engine of the boat. Durex comes back and jumps in to attack. However, Reuben manages to get the boat going in time, and they all escape to the island safely. While crossing the sea, they see a flare in the sky and follow it to save Duncan. In the morning, Reuben sees that Isabella still has Dolores. Jorah and Henry talk that they will share all the samples with everyone, and the movie ends with this scene. If you liked the video, subscribe to the Plot Prime channel.